Keanu Reeves steps onto the red carpet for the premiere of his latest film, only to be blocked and questioned by security guards who don't recognize him. Yet the way he handles this humiliating ordeal reveals a calm determination that will leave you amazed and wanting more. But before we dive in, leave a comment and let us know where you are watching from today. And if this story speaks to you, hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. It was a crisp evening in Los Angeles, and the marquee lights outside the movie theater spelled out the name of Keanu's new action drama in bold letters. Fans stretched along barricades, eager to spot a glimpse of their favorite stars. Some held posters featuring Keanu in character, while others sported t-shirts with his face. Despite the excitement all around, Keanu's arrival was notably calm. He parked his own car a few blocks away, preferring to walk the final stretch. Along the sidewalk, he stopped briefly to sign autographs for a small group of fans who recognized him instantly. A few journalists nearby spotted him too, but Keanu politely declined interviews, offering a gentle wave before continuing onward. As Keanu approached the main entrance, the red carpet was teeming with other cast members, producers, and a flurry of high-profile guests. He paused to let a line of chauffeured SUVs pull up, each releasing an elegantly dressed celebrity to the cheering crowd. Meanwhile, a pair of tall, broad-shouldered security guards stood sentry at the rope, scanning each arriving individual's credentials or invitation. Keanu stepped forward just as he always did, with humility and little fanfare. One of the guards, a stern-faced man in a black suit, blocked his path. "Invitations, please," he demanded, voice low but firm. Keanu dipped a hand into the inside pocket of his blazer to retrieve a small pass. It had been sent to him by the production company. The guard snatched it, giving it a once-over. His expression didn't change, but he looked Keanu up and down, taking in the casual outfit and unassuming demeanor. "This doesn't look legitimate," the guard said. "Where'd you get this pass?" Keanu blinked, a small frown creasing his brow. "I believe the studio mailed it. I'm part of the cast." The second guard, arms crossed, chimed in. "Don't recall seeing your name on the VIP entry list, and we've been letting in big names all night." His gaze dropped to Keanu's scuffed boots. "You sure you're at the right event?" A murmur from nearby fans began to ripple outward. Some recognized Keanu and started whispering, confused as to why the star was being questioned by security. Others, who only vaguely knew of his face, wondered if maybe he was just a fan trying to sneak in. Camera flashes began converging on the commotion, though no one had fully grasped what was happening yet. Keanu offered a polite smile, one reminiscent of how he'd handled countless odd encounters. "I am at the right event," he stated calmly. "I'm here for the premiere of this film, which I star in." But the guards seemed unmoved. They glanced at each other, an almost mocking grin flickering across their faces. The first guard shook his head. "Listen, we know you're excited, but we can't let you in without proper authorization. We have a strict policy: no pass, no entry." Keanu tried again quietly. "I don't want to disrupt your rules, but I assure you I'm part of this film." The guard frowned, lowering his voice. "And I assure you, we can't let every random person off the street waltz into a premiere. Now step aside so you don't hold up the line." At that moment, a black town car pulled up, and a well-known celebrity emerged to roars of approval from the crowd. The guards perked up, ignoring Keanu for a moment to unclip the rope for the new arrival. As the celebrity breezed past, he gave Keanu a puzzled look, clearly recognizing him. But the line moved too quickly for him to intervene. Keanu lingered to the side, unsure if he should call someone from his team. He typically traveled with minimal fuss, rarely employing security or personal assistance. This time, though, it put him in an awkward position. The throng of people behind him grew restless. More VIPs arrived, each ushered through the rope with little scrutiny. Still, Keanu, the actual star of the movie, remained stuck outside, politely awaiting resolution. He tried explaining his role in the film a second time, but the guards were unimpressed. Their dismissive tone hinted that they thought he was some imposter or a lookalike, hoping to sneak onto the red carpet. Tension crackled in the air. While no one had become aggressive, there was a palpable sense of looming conflict. Keanu's trademark patience shone through, but a flicker of confusion clouded his eyes. Soon enough, the glimmering lights of the premiere started to feel less welcoming and more alienating. As the minutes ticked by, people began to notice the bizarre standoff. A few fans pointed in disbelief, while some paparazzi hovered, trying to capture the unfolding story. None of them, including the guards, realized just how big a mistake they were making and what sort of reaction might follow when the truth came out. Music thrummed from inside the theater, where the event's DJ had started warming up the crowd. Onlookers jammed behind the barricades, craning their necks to see which A-listers were arriving. Flashes popped like mini fireworks as cameras captured each famous face that glided across the red carpet. Yet in this swirl of Hollywood glamour, Keanu Reeves remained stuck outside, barred from entering his own movie premiere. The situation escalated when the second security guard squared his shoulders and spoke more forcefully. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave," he said, pointing away from the entrance. "We've given you multiple chances to show valid credentials." Keanu, still holding the pass he'd been sent, felt a pang of embarrassment. He glimpsed the line of fans, some of whom were shouting, "It's Keanu! Let him in!" But the security staff didn't seem to hear or simply didn't believe it. "I'm not looking to cause a scene," Keanu replied, voice calm, though laced with frustration he tried to hide. "Perhaps you can check with the event organizers inside? I'm sure someone from the studio can confirm." The guard cut him off. "We have hundreds of guests tonight. Everyone claims they're important." He gave Keanu a firm shove, just enough to force him a step back toward the sidewalk. "You need to move away from the entrance, or we'll have to escort you off the property." A ripple of shock coursed through the bystanders. Paparazzi lenses turned in unison, capturing every tense second. The hum of the crowd grew louder, a mixture of confusion and disbelief. Some fans started chanting Keanu's name, trying to vouch for him. Still, the guards seemed obstinately convinced that Keanu was an imposter. Holding his composure, Keanu considered his options. He could call for the publicist or producer he knew was already inside, or find a friend in the crowd. But the mob of people and roaring traffic made it difficult to spot anyone he recognized. Meanwhile, the lead security guard looked increasingly agitated, either from the pressure of the job or from feeling challenged in front of onlookers. A slender journalist in a crisp suit approached with a microphone, eyes darting between Keanu and the guards. "Keanu Reeves, is everything all right? Are they really not letting you in?" The reporter's voice cracked with both disbelief and excitement, sensing a potential headline. "Can you explain what's happening?" Before Keanu could respond, the guard, apparently threatened by more media attention, stepped between them, raising a hand to block the camera. "No interviews here," he barked. "Sir, you're trespassing if you don't have official permission." A wave of embarrassment washed over Keanu. He'd always been private, never one to thrive on tabloid spectacle. To be the center of such a public standoff felt surreal. Though frustration simmered beneath his mild expression, he took a deep breath and tried to defuse the situation. "Could we at least step to the side so we're not blocking traffic?" he suggested quietly. The guard nodded curtly. "Fine, but that's it." They shifted away from the direct flow of arriving guests. The reporter circled back, trying to get a statement, but another guard shooed him away. The camera flashes continued, intensifying the sense of drama. Keanu could hear some fans yelling, "He's in the movie! Look him up on the poster!" Yet the security personnel seemed to have decided that he was not on the official list. They refused to budge. Keanu tried to remain polite, rummaging through his phone in hopes of calling his agent or a team member inside. But amid the noise, his calls went to voicemail. "This is unexpected," he murmured under his breath, shaking his head. He wondered if he should walk away, but the premiere was for a project that mattered to him deeply. He believed in facing the situation calmly. There was no point in turning it into a physical confrontation. Slowly, a murmuring wave swept the crowd. Some recognized the bizarre irony of a huge star being denied access to his own event. Others suspected a publicity stunt, though Keanu's tense posture suggested otherwise. The paparazzi, sensing a goldmine, inched closer, snapping photos from every angle, hoping to catch a meltdown or confrontation. The lead guard, apparently riled up by the growing scene, decided to escalate. "All right, enough," he said, grabbing Keanu's arm. "You need to leave now." Keanu stiffened at the abrupt grip. "Listen, you're making a mistake," he said softly, pulling free. I'm not here to fight with you. I'm simply... A strong nudge cut him off, forcing him backward. People in the crowd gasped audibly, some fans even shouting at the guards to stop. Keanu stumbled slightly, regaining his balance with the practiced grace of someone used to stunt work. As flashes lit up the worried expression on his face, the entire area seemed to collectively hold its breath. While violence had not broken out, the tension soared. Keanu's patience, though legendary, was stretched. An event staffer in a headset scurried by, but the guard blocked her, preventing her from approaching Keanu. The possibility of a shocking confrontation loomed in the air. Yet still, most had no idea that the man standing there, being manhandled by security, was the star everyone had come to see. The spectacle unfolding outside the theater had started drawing attention from inside. A few actors and producers milling around the lobby peered through the glass doors, puzzled by the commotion. Even those who didn't immediately see Keanu recognized the presence of paparazzi in an obvious confrontation with security. Whispers rippled through the crowd indoors. What's going on? Did someone try to sneak in? Is there a crazy fan causing trouble? All the while, fans outside who were wholeheartedly aware of who Keanu was began to chant his name louder. Their shouts grew urgent. Let Keanu in! He's the star! The echo of their voices finally penetrated the thick glass doors and the swirling noise of the city. A wave of confusion painted the faces of a few staff inside, and one of them, a junior publicist named Lydia, decided to investigate. Stepping onto the red carpet with a determined expression, Lydia spotted Keanu's distinct figure almost immediately. Her eyes widened as she realized the security guards were not just questioning him, but actively manhandling him. Gasping, she pushed past a small throng of photographers, raising her voice to be heard above the din. Excuse me! Stop! That's him! But her cries went unheard in the flurry of activity. Determined, she rushed forward, weaving between swirling cameras. Just as the head security guard was about to shove Keanu away again, Lydia forced herself into the space between them, arms raised defensively. Stop it! He's the star of the movie! She shouted, finally catching the guard's attention. This is Keanu Reeves! At that name, a hush fell over the immediate area. Onlookers who had doubted the fans' claims suddenly realized the magnitude of their mistake. The guards froze, confusion flickering across their faces. Paparazzi erupted in a frenzy of camera flashes, capturing the moment of realization. The journos, who'd been kept at bay, advanced again, microphones raised, wanting to capture the meltdown or apology on film. All eyes flicked to Keanu, who stood quietly, bruised by embarrassment rather than physical harm. Lydia turned to him, breathless. I'm so sorry, Mr. Reeves, she managed to say, voice quivering from both shock and frustration at the guards. I had no idea they weren't letting you in. Please come inside. The security guards exchanged glances, color draining from their faces. The guard who'd forcibly grabbed Keanu stuttered. Wait, you mean the Keanu Reeves? Keanu gave a weary nod, attempting a small smile. He glanced at the massive cameras capturing every second of this humiliating debacle. I tried to let you know, he answered, his humility clearly intact despite the ordeal. Sometimes, words aren't enough. The guard's eyes flicked to the fans behind the barricades, some of whom had been shouting in vain. Realizing the depth of his error, the guard stammered. I'm sorry. We get a lot of people claiming to be bigger than they are. Didn't think... Keanu raised a hand, gently interrupting. Despite everything, he held no visible anger. Look, I understand you have a job to do, and I respect that, he said, voice mild. But maybe next time, try listening to folks in the crowd too. They recognized me right away. A flurry of reporters swarmed in, each shouting for an exclusive interview. Microphones were thrust forward, and camera operators jockeyed for the best angle. Keanu, did you plan this as a publicity stunt? One voice called out. Do you have any comments on security's rough treatment? Asked another. Were you afraid they might hurt you? Keanu's response was measured. I'm fine, he told them politely. I'm sorry about the confusion, but let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. We're here to celebrate a film, and I'd prefer to focus on that. With that, Lydia, the publicist, ushered him toward the doors. Before entering, Keanu paused to wave at the fans behind the barriers. Their cheers turned triumphant at the sight of him finally crossing onto the red carpet. The entire fiasco had a bizarre, surreal quality, and a sense of relief washed over everyone, except for the mortified security guards still standing by the entrance. Inside the theater lobby, the atmosphere shifted from tense to exhilarated. Cast members and studio representatives who had heard rumors of the chaos came rushing over. Some exclaimed, "Keanu, what happened?" Others simply expressed their apologies and relief that he'd made it inside. The star he was, Keanu brushed off the drama with a calm shrug. "It's all good," he said. "Let's focus on the premiere." Yet the incident was far from over in the minds of those who had witnessed it. Whispers buzzed about whether the guards would face consequences, whether the press would spin the story, and how social media would react once videos of the altercation circulated. Already cameras had captured the entire scene. The refusal, the shoves, the shock on Keanu's face. In an era when news travels at lightning speed, it was only a matter of hours before the footage would dominate entertainment headlines. Keanu, however, chose not to dwell on the negativity. Despite the bruises to his ego, and perhaps a slight ache from being shoved, he maintained his characteristic grace. He proceeded to greet co-stars, chat with producers, and pose for pictures, as though nothing were amiss. Even so, an undercurrent of tension clung to the edges of the event. The irony of an A-list actor being refused entry to his own premiere by guards who didn't recognize him was impossible to ignore. Fans outside remained in high spirits, satisfied that justice had been served when Keanu finally crossed the threshold. But online, a storm was brewing. Attendees' cell phone clips and paparazzi shots posted to social media told a story many found both shocking and strangely compelling. Security guards stopped Keanu Reeves from entering his own movie premiere. His reaction will shock you. Little did anyone know, the real shock wasn't just that he was nearly barred from the celebration of his own work. It would be in how Keanu responded once the cameras turned away from the fiasco, when he decided to take a stand on a far larger stage than just the red carpet. Because for Keanu Reeves, an incident like this wasn't just a personal slight. It was an opportunity to show the world once again the power of humility and compassion in the face of ignorance. And what he chose to do next would leave everyone utterly stunned.